Hello, everybody. It's time for another collection update. Just to clarify exactly what I'm doing, I'm gonna try to show my collection where everything is seen, but I'm not gonna go over every little thing because then the video would be 5 hours. Especially the things where it's pretty detailed in other videos, but I like to update about once a year just to show off everything I got. And I'll start with this Call Upon Yoda promo thing, which I always usually generally start with, which is on the door. This was from episode 3. It was like a promo thing. And I got it around that time and kept it ever since. There's some vintage Bendy Wishnicks. Of course, my dog starts to bark now, which is great timing. This ET eraser I got. This is the Boglin's Halloween bag, which came in the original Halloween Boglins, which I have framed. And my Howard the Duck signed laser disc, signed by Leah Thompson and Ed Gale. Possibly the only signed laser disc by both those actors in existence. If you know anyone that has one, let me know. And here are some horror Valentines. And we're just going with some random figures on the wall. Nothing too crazy here, so I don't really feel the need to overly explain what these things are. This is cool. Sports Freaks, one of those random 80s lines. I'll draw attention to this. It's a bootleg Homer from Mexico. I find this interesting because I believe it's Leah Thompson's only figure. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's true. And some random Michael Jackson stickers, a Duckman air freshener, because why not? And that's an original painting by D.K. Manyard. Shout out if you're watching this, but really talented artist. The Boglin, that is. Who remembers these from the 80s? These were called, I don't know, pencil huggers or clip-ons, whatever you want to call them. I have some rare ones here, especially. Like the Roger Rabbit, I believe, is very rare. The My Pet Monster is pretty rare. Gizmo, which is my dog's name. There's some ones that aren't as rare. These two trolls, though, I believe are like not even sold in this country. They're trolls from David the Gnome. Here are the original Puppet Master figures from Full Moon. They're just chilling on my air conditioner. Some California raisins. So, again, an interest in not making this video 10,000 years long. I'll just show you some of this stuff. Sectors. Those are original movie turtles. Don't have any accessories, but those are like from my childhood. And so that's cool. It's cool whenever you have something from your childhood. This is just a wall. One of the walls where I have some carded stuff. Most of my stuff is loose. Here's the Simpsons World of Springfield collection. There's a custom Jay Sherman there. And I don't have the playsets, if anyone's wondering. They were thrown out. Long story. Rather than not talk about it. Bottom shelf of some random stuff that just kind of gets tucked away. Those are the handmade Boglins that Tim Clark made. Got the Mach 5. And we're going to go down here. This squishy guy. Here we got a little random shelf of troll, they're called like Troll Warriors. The Rocky figures from Jax. And some Diamond Select Star Trek figures. Which kind of look like the Migos. Here's my Funko Mystery Minis. A lot to take in there. Oh, there's a lot. I like to take advantage of space. Because I have a lot of stuff and not that much space. Well, decent amount of space. Just too much stuff. This is kind of my Street Fighter collection. But there'll be some cameos from Baraka in there. And Scorpion and Sub-Zero. For the most part, Street Fighter. And this is my Pride and Joy. Well, one of my Pride and Joys, but kind of. my Howard the Duck shelf. I did a detailed video on this, so if you're interested in anything here, check that out. I'm not going to go crazy explaining what all this stuff is, except for this replica license, which is pretty cool, which Howard has in the movie. I used to have a ton of 3-inch Star Wars figures, modern and vintage, on display. Most of them are in my shed. They kind of just didn't make the cut. There's just too many of them. Kind of regretted those. I have a lot. It would be cool to display them again. I don't know, but this is just what I have on display. It's mostly vintage with a few modern ones and a Black Series in there and the Mac Tonight Moon, because why not? I don't want to miss anything, so I'm just scanning up here. These are the Rampage Stretch toys, along with a bootleg Blanca. I love bootleg toys. Here we go. So these pieces might have more explanation, and I'm pretty sure I've explained some of them before, but that's a Star Toys Jake Roberts, which is a rare wrestling figure from Spain. Ludo there is made by a talented artist, also in Spain, ironically. That's a one-off, one of a kind. Here's the Trump Patrol, which, come on, even if you like Trump, this is funny, which I don't. Mad Bull figures from Premium DNA. This is definitely a new item, which I didn't have on my last video. It's a Dinosaurs. It's like a bootleg of a bootleg. They had bootlegs back in the day. This is a new version of it. Still not licensed, though. But these are just like kind of collector pieces, like one-off. Some of them are one-off. Some of those are artist-made, like the anglerfish. This guy, I can never remember what he's called. That's Vile made these slimy-looking things. There's some Lord of the Rings stuff in the background. But the Abominable Snow Cone. The Sad Salesman makes those snails. There's a big Billy Bob, my Balabolgia army. Puglu from Planet P, he's a cool piece. The Obelisk from Willow, and the Giant Deadly Spawn. There's the OG T-Rex in the background. Again, just to kind of get a broader view. Let's go back in. Alright, so this is like a Marvel Legends. There's the Ron English figures in front, and there's also some like random other stuff like Toxie here from Super 7 and Black Star. And you know what? Maybe I'll go down. I'll go down. That makes more sense. Here's my little horror shelf of horror 6-inch figures, but up front, those are little figurines made by Wolfman Charlie on Instagram. But and this is one of the few shelves where I actually have some space left for run. I have a lot. I really enjoy the things that I have that are like one of a kind. And this is Chet, made by One Eyed Girl. This is a one of a kind. She made him for a show, and then she ended up selling him, and I was lucky enough to buy him. This is a little random thing. I don't know if this guy still makes these. And don't ask me where I got them because I don't remember. But this is a Rockbiter mixed with a Boglin. Here we got the Toxie Nugget and the My Pet Monster Madball, made by Eddie in the City. I do remember that. And these are just random modern figures. Here we go, another mixed match of shelves. I'll point out the things that I think are unique, or at least try to. And in this case, probably the coolest things are the guy who made my Jay Sherman Critic Custom also made me a Duckman and Corn-Fed. But other than that, you know, a bunch of other just random stuff. I have a bunch of plush guys smushed in here, along with, you know, there's little Britain, there's Animal, there's an orangutan, there's an alligator snapping turtle, some of the stuff I really like. And there's some interesting stretch guys, like the Stretch Gorilla, Stretch Armstrong, there's the 1980s Stay Puffed, and a Stretch Jabba, only sold in England. And it's my Jabba collection. Here's my gaming systems and some other fun stuff on the ground. Original Hornhead. Now I do believe I missed this middle shelf, so let's go. This is my Lord of the Rings Toy Biz figures. This is kind of like the evil characters. And we got the good characters up here. I think the Toy Biz figure, the Toy Biz line is very underrated. These figures are pretty cool, and they hold up today. And they were like $4.99. Isn't that nuts? $4.99. These would be like $20 now. And this shelf came out pretty cool. Lots of money invested in this. But it's my NECA cartoon turtle shelf. With one thing that's not, which is Bucky O'Hare right in the front. And the Germs rubber toys from the 80s. Moving along. Another mixed match of just random cast of characters. Again, going over every little thing, not really feasible. And besides my Howard the Duck shelf, I also have a Jabba the Hutt shelf. This guy's really cool. I think it's Pickled something on Instagram. This is a pug Jabba. I really like him. And yeah, there's a lot of Jabbas in a little bit of space. It's hard to fit so many Jabbas in one space. Okay, so this is the wall by my TV. Mostly Marvel movie maniacs with just stuff on top of them. I try to make real good use of the space. I always wanted that red Blade when I was a kid. I thought it was like unobtainable. So now as an adult, I wasted my money on it. I'm not going to go crazy in this area because it's mostly the same other than that corner area where I added the Ghoulie a little higher up and the Jason Spitball, which is new. There's the Jeff Jarrett Heels and Faces by Zombie Sailor. I try to shout out the artist when I can. And in front of my TV, I have a complete U.S. collection of Battle Beast. Trust me, they're all there. So when I watch TV, I get to stare at Battle Beast. Could be a worse way to watch TV. Here's my little Mac and Me corner, because as one does, has a Mac and Me corner. They're all customs, obviously. Mac never got his due in figure form, officially. This guy's really cool. He's a giant garbage pail, trash bag bunch, I'm sorry. And that's the original one right there, and that's the big guy. Here's a shelf full of fun things. It's the My Mad Monster. It's Ludo. A customizer makes that. The bootleg Rockbiter and some other creepy crawlers like the Big Ugly and some Blobfish. Here we got some Super 7 figures. That Dio just came out. And here's My Pet Monsters plush, along with the Los Temblor. Moving quite along. Hopefully not moving too fast, but I'm trying to make it like somewhat brief, just to give an example of what I have. Here's a Jiggler shelf, all types of fun Jigglers. Some actual vintage, some modern. But I've always liked rubber animals, rubber monsters as a kid, and now I like them as an adult. Here's some Bendies. I love Bendies too. Okay, so here's the 3-0/Zensation Studios Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is my favorite show of all time, my favorite franchise of all time. I love Game of Thrones. And this is a combination of those two companies. So I keep them on my like window, which is like a very special spot where they're kind of very prominently displayed. Unfortunately, from information I'm gathering, is that 3-0 is done. They're not making any more. But we got a pretty good line. So way more than I ever thought we'd get, so I can't really complain. But unfortunately, it looks like this is all we're getting. There's a Sucker Man up there. And we got the Magato from Star Trek. I always liked him. Big furry ape guy. I don't have tons of Star Trek stuff, but I do have him. There's the original Germs figures. Snailians. I love random 80s and 90s figured toy lines like this. Like, that's like my favorite thing. Probably. And got some modern Mego. Here's just some music McFarlane stuff. This is stuff that I collected as they were coming out. And at the time, it was like really the only way to get music collectibles. Now I feel like they're everywhere. Not really that rare thing. Some old Mashems. I don't think I got a good shot of Harry here by Distinctive Dummies. Harry and the Hendersons, man. I love Sasquatch and I love Harry and the Hendersons. There's some Mashems? I have a card in one somewhere. This is cool. This is like a Dino Riders 2-pack, but they put the Smithsonian Institute Ice Age collection on there. It's a giant sloth and the saber-tooth cat. And so, you know, makes it look more official. Like it's a museum behind it. I'm not going to bore you guys with my modern AEW collection because I'm sure, you know, whatever. These are all just available now. Nothing special here. The ring is really cool, though. Some more random plushes. There's the poop. There's the pee. Very rare Hans Mole Man plush. We'll zoom out a little bit. This is Kid Robot, Futurama, Simpsons, and South Park. Now, if you're into wrestling figures, especially if you're my age, you collected Hasbros. And this is more or less a complete Hasbro retail collection, no mailaways. I do have Yoko number 2 and Haxa number 2 carded, so they're not here, but I do have them. And since I'm such an honest person, this Undertaker Series 8 has a fake coat. And Zombie Sailor Toys Heels and Faces line. These figures are great, and I'm looking forward to more. All right, so we got some dinosaurs up here, some more carded wrestling, a bootleg My Pet Monster. I like My Pet Monster. I love bootlegs. Perfect match. So up here is Game of Thrones Pops and Mystery Minis. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. It's one of each character for the Pops, and it's every Mystery Mini. So most of my Pops I put in their spare bedroom. I don't really display them in here anymore because I think they were just taking up too much space. But I did keep some. And the ad icons is one thing I kept because I think they look really cool. They're colorful. They're something that if you're not into collectibles or you're not into this stuff, most people would get a kick out of these guys. All right, so one of my shelves of wrestling figures. These are the Mattel Elites and some basics, along with Chella, El Snow, and Gangrel, which was also supposed to represent the Hasbros. More Mattels. This is kind of a wrestling figure wall. And the problem with wrestling figures is that most people who collect them just tend to collect a lot of them. Hence what we're looking at right now. And then the more you get, the less they're able to be displayed properly. And they just look like a bunch of indistinguishable figures. But that's just the way it goes. Here are the Mattel Retros, which is their version of Hasbro's. And If someone would like me to do a better wrestling figure video, I'm fine with that. But just for the sake of this collection tour, I'm just going to do a quick scan. So that's the wrestling figure wall. And here's the, besides Game of Thrones, here are the other pops that I have still in this room. It's the horror movie pops, because I guess Game of Thrones, ad icons, and horror movies are what I found to be the most important thing. So we're going to take a quick zoom out. Here's my couch with the Westeros map and the the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Wrestling Buddies. Ooh, we're gonna take a trip this way. You think I would have left a space behind the couch bare? Of course not. Some vintage plush, the giant Chuck E. Cheese, cherry, couch potato. The Sour Boy, I believe, is a one of a kind, made by Jelly Joe or Jolly Joe. Sorry if I'm not remembering it right. And some more random plush. Now, a lot of people know me as a Boglins collector. And I do have a lot of Boglins. Though there's about like 6 or 7 Boglin videos on my page channel. So if you're not interested in this, I definitely recommend checking that out. I'm not going crazy detailed with the Boglins because it's been done to death. Here are some figures adorning the Willow, the classic Willow line. Terrible toys, but kind of cool on the card. The Freddy Squishums, which I have a loose one of. Here's the 2 official Dinosaurs figures, followed by 2 bootlegs. Mash'ems. Explaining to my friends who don't collect why I collect bootlegs is, they're just so confused by it. So I was or have been, I've been a Spurs fan for like 30 years. And here's my little tiny Spurs section. But I'm not having a big Spurs section. That's kind of boring. I like the fun stuff better. I'm just going to point out all my bootlegs here. Bootleg Stretch Armstrong. He really wants you to feel the skin. Original vintage Garbage Pail Kids stickers with price tag. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's the Gremlins Winter Water Hatchers. Gizmo and Stripe. Where it's Gizmo, that's Stripe, and they grow in water. Though they will never grow in water because they're never being opened. Here's some Super 7 stuff. These Ghostbusters toys were not originals. I'm very honest. I can lie and say they are. Nobody would know the difference, but they're not. They're reissues. Here's some mint on Cardcella. I got my boy Zen. And Zombie Heels and Faces Sabu. Actually just got that. They right by the giant Brontosaurus from Dino Riders. And here's just another just pile of stuff. Unfortunately for me, when you collect so much and you want to display everything, stuff just starts to pile up. So I try to make it look as neat as possible. There's my Snail Man. He's really cool. There's Belial's hanging out. The Soda Toys Pumpkinhead, which is actually pretty sought after, and he's just tucked in a corner there. Like he's nothing. Okay, so here's some my 1/6 scale stuff, which is, I'm a big 1/6 scale guy. Star Wars, Sideshow, Hot Toys, you know the deal, guys. If you don't, then why are you watching this? I believe I did a 1/6 scale video, and I was thinking about just doing that to give this all proper attention, but I did do one. It's a little outdated, but I have a lot of 1/6 scale stuff, so I want to show it off. It's kind of themed here a little bit. Nah, not really. Here we go. We got some 80s stuff. We got some 80s icons here. Bill and Ted, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, Terminator. But then Kick-Ass and Brian Mills from Taken. Kind of ruins it. It's the Hulkster and Hellboy. Abe Sapien. This is kind of my Sylvester Stallone section. We got Rocky, we got Rambo, we got The Expendables, and we got Judge Dredd, and King Shark, who he voices, let's not forget that. Rocket is like the latest thing I got. If you're ever wondering what Rocket looked like next to Yoda in Wicked the Ewok, well, wonder no more. And here we go into the Lord of the Rings section. That little space between Bilbo and Gimli is reserved for Gollum. Hopefully he shows up soon. There's the Witch King. That's a custom Lurtz. Okay, we're on to the horror portion of the shelf. That Jason Takes Manhattan is a custom. These, I believe these NECA Chuckies are really perfect for 1/6 scale. A lot of customs here. Obviously the Killer Clowns, Turok. Besides Rocket, I just got Tarman from Return of the Living Dead. And he is really cool. I like him a lot. Okay, on the top shelf, we got Gremlins and Predator figures. And I kind of skipped over this. Who remembers Army Ants? Only old people do. I'm a big fan of the Colonel Stars and Stripes character from the Kick-Ass 2 movie. I think that movie's very underrated, actually. Here's another distinctive dummies piece. It's Brain Dead, or as known in America, Dead Alive. One of my favorite actors, Steve Buscemi, as Mr. Pink. And we got Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone. Up there, we got the McFarlane Walking Dead line. Now, what I did with this was, there's no walkers. There's one of each human. I believe I have 2 Dales. And one of my Dales is signed by Jeffrey DeMunn, who played Dale. Other than that, it's one of each character. And there he is. That's interesting. Great. Here's some Married with Children, Figures Toy Company, and Mego. Along with the Mego Freddy Krueger. And since we're going down this thing anyway, let's just take a look. Bootleg ET stickers. Because why wouldn't I have that? Baby Jabba. My favorite politician ever, Bernie Sanders. Let's not make this video political, though. Excuse me. Okay, so these are blocks of wood meant to be VHS tapes painted by VHS Girl. These are originals, not prints, of Howard the Duck and Troll. Yes, the Toad Ghoulie, the Worm from Labyrinth, and Galwin. I love Galwin. Who remembers Galwin? If you don't know what movie Galwin's from, then sorry. No, he's from Troll. And this is the Trick or Treat Studios Ultimate Chucky. Man, he's so cool. He's not cheap, but honestly, in my opinion, worth it. He's just such a presence in the room. He has a little alien friend, and he's in front of the good guy doll that I bought from Spirit of Halloween. Here's the Elusive Concepts Jabba the Hutt. And we got some horror stuff here. Man, a lot of this stuff is custom. Obviously, my critter is leaning forward. There we go. Horror is one of my main loves, if not my main love. Now, one of the things that isn't custom that I have to shout out is the Trick or Treat Studios Fish Ghoulie. He's really cool. There's the NECA Balrog and some Hot Toys aliens. Just a mismatch of stuff. It's a lot. Is the OG. NECA made a lot of these replica gremlins. But I bought the first one, and I just never bought another one. They made a lot of cool ones, though, but I have the original, and he's holding up okay. He's got a little split there, but considering his age, he's doing all right. And here's the Trick or Treat Studios Gizmo and Stripe. Mogwais. Here we go. We have a custom. There's George Liquor. I should display George Liquor better. He's hiding in that corner. Poor George. The custom Toxic Avenger. Albert Einstein. Baby Doll. Killjoy the Clown. You know, if you ever want to see the Dude, Blackula, and Din Djarin hang out along with Grogu, there you go. Little Walking Dead shelf. You know what's the Governor and Abraham are customs. A lot of people, I think in hindsight, might think Merle was a custom, a random addition to this line. And to a degree, I agree. But honestly, I love Michael Rooker, so it's a welcome addition, in my opinion. Great actor, and I think Merle should have got more of a life. They killed him too fast. And I'm probably skipping by stuff, but shit happens. Here's some OG Barnyard Commandos, but here are the new ones by Premium DNA. Premium DNA kicks ass. And some more 1/6 scale goodness. Along with some Mogwais. This is a little bit of a Quentin Tarantino area here. Django and Inglourious Bastards and Reservoir Dogs. And there's some Ghostbusters. That's where it ends. Now up there, once again, we got the Toonie Terrors along with my 1/6 scale James Bond figures. It's really hard to get them in. And the 3 Predators from the Robert Rodriguez Predator movie. Just for fun. My bad if I'm skipping over something that you guys really wanted me to explain. And let's just take a look at this little back wall, which really doesn't change much. This is just the stuff that I've had forever, but it's probably in the least noticeable spot. Is my OG Austin Powers figures from McFarlane. I was really big into Austin Powers. Since we love talking about those random lines, here are some whatnots. And there's just more wrestling figures and stuff. I do want to kind of get this guy in. Wise Aces. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Like Gizmo, besides the bark in the beginning, he's been here with me. He's been pretty good. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am more than happy to do more detailed videos of any given collection. This is more just a broad, general walkthrough. But me and Fat Bastard are going to hang out now. Thanks for watching.